I don't ever remember a rookie that has been drafted outside of the first round taking the league by storm.
Sanders throws, touchdown, putting on a show here in the second quarter.
I wasn't nervous, it was just getting comfortable. Well, I'll say I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
Well, he looked comfortable in that first preseason game, but the Browns released their second QB depth chart of the summer, and even after Shedeur Sanders piloted that impressive 10 series of action in the debut, Joe Flacco still QB1, followed by Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel, both of whom have been hampered with hamstring injury issues. Okay, for more on this, let's welcome in two-time Super Bowl champ Damian Woody. Okay, so Kevin Stefanski not really committing on the quarterback situation just yet. It's interesting that Shedeur Sanders' debut didn't move the needle up the depth chart. So, Damian, how do you think he did in his debut, and what will it take for him to move up?
I thought Shedeur acquitted himself very well. We saw a lot of different situations when it came with Shedeur. You saw him underneath center. You saw him in shotgun. Okay, you saw him in backed up situation. And the one thing you could say about Shedeur, he was poised and he was prepared. He spoke after the game. He talked about nothing really surprised him. That's great credit to his preparation, getting ready for this game. Listen, he played the majority of the snaps in this game. I thought, again, he made some throws, some layered throws you saw in the red zone. Both touchdown passes I thought was great, movement in the pocket. And so for me, when I look at Shedeur Sanders and how he played, I think he planted the seed. Yeah. Plant the seed in Kevin Stefanski's head to earn more opportunities with the twos and the ones moving forward.
Okay, so maybe he's not moving up just yet, but he's planted that seed, maybe prime spot to move up soon. All right, so who else from this quarterback class were you impressed by and are looking forward to seeing more of in week 2?
For me, it's Jackson Dart, the first round pick for the New York Football Giants. I thought he really acquitted himself well. As well, and you saw a little bit of everything from him. You saw the athletic ability, the mobility that he was known for at Ole Miss. You saw him being able to stay in the pocket when the rush was really bearing down on him and delivering that strike for a touchdown. I was really impressed with him, the poise in the pocket. Now listen, he has some things he has to clean up. Football, from as far as footwork is concerned, but otherwise I thought he did a great job. Mm-hmm. And then we move on to Cam Ward. Cam Ward, listen, the great thing about Cam Ward, I love how he was able to push the ball down the field. That was one of the things that when we talk about the Tennessee Titans, the lack of explosive plays in the passing game, you saw the rapport that he had with Calvin Ridley in the passing game. The one thing I would say about Cam Ward is you just want him to speed it up a little bit. He was holding on the ball a little bit too long, but I listened for his first debut. I thought he did a tremendous job.
Yeah, it's typical of rookies to hold on to the ball a little bit too long, but I got to say, him, Dart, Shedeur Sanders, they all look so calm and so poised in the pocket. They're a good class so far. All right, it's early, but good start. Now, as mentioned earlier in the show, Pro Bowl guard Landon Dickerson will undergo a minor procedure on a meniscus injury. What insight can you give into Dickerson's recovery, and how difficult is it to play at a Pro Bowl level with this kind of injury?
So I've had this injury before. I've had this same surgery before. Literally, I've missed one game.
Wow.
One game from that surgery. And listen, Landon Dickerson, obviously one of the best guards in the National Football League, one of the toughest players that we have in that game. I don't foresee him missing any time. And we still got about a month, maybe a little bit less than a month before the first game. So I think the Philadelphia Eagles will just ramp him up and he'll be ready for the opener.
So it's more of a pain tolerance situation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not one of those, we got to reconstruct the meniscus, a little shave and then you can just go about your business. But again, he's one of the tougher players that we have in our game.
You make it sound so easy. I wouldn't be walking for 6 months. He's like, I'm back in a week. Again, the Eagles, they're considering him week to week. Their hope that he's available when they open the season against the Cowboys September 4th. Damian, thank you.
3rd in fantasy points in 2023 and 5th in fantasy points last season. Held under 50 yards and under 10 fantasy points in half his games.
Mike, back-to-back seasons, a rookie has been the highest scoring player at his position. Are expectations high enough for Colston Loveland?
I don't think they're high enough. And actually, one of those tight ends, Sam Laporta, 2 years ago, was calling the plays for him?
Ben Johnson.
It was Ben Johnson,
Good guess,
now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. And Colston Loveland, of course, is the tight end there. Look, he's not a guy, obviously you don't just expect a rookie to be the top scoring fantasy tight end, but this is a guy that's going in the double-digit rounds quite often, so you could take a late flyer on a guy who was a early first-round draft pick, and a guy also who was very featured last season at Michigan. 37% of their targets went to Colston Loveland last season. I know Cole Kmet's there, but he should be a big part of this offense right away.
All right, let's chat more tight ends here now. And Mike, let's talk about Mark Andrews. We were just talking about Travis Kelce, part of the old reliable club. Mark Andrews. That oh boy was in reaction to Mark Andrews. Tell me more.
One of the most shocking stat lines of last season was Mark Andrews. I mean, you remember early in the year the targets kind of just disappeared from him, and that's what we saw throughout the season. After having a target share between the 22% and 28% from 2019 to 2023, which by the way was top 4 at tight end all 4 seasons, all the way down to 15% last season. That was 20th at tight end. So he was 20th in targets, 14th in catches, first in touchdowns at tight end. So we'd be panicking a lot more if he didn't get, we'll say in air quotes, lucky in the touchdown department, because the touchdowns didn't match up with his usage, and his touchdown rate was almost triple his prior scoring rate. So you get some regression there. We're going to need more targets to offset that. He's a tricky player to rank this season.
So no Isaiah likely to begin the season, Damian. Do you think Mark Andrews maybe has a little bit of gas left in the tank, and perhaps Mike is underappreciating him?
No, like that was very disturbing last year. And when you look at what's, Isaiah, I think Isaiah likely is probably going to take even more of a chunk of the tight end shares in that offense. And you just saw last year, you just wonder like the momentum. I mean, that huge drop in the playoff game. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that we saw during that period of 2019 to 2023. I don't know if we're going to see those type of numbers again for him.
I do not know who is going to be throwing the passes for the Indianapolis Colts this year and whether that player will be effective. But I do know whoever it is has a chance to link up with Tyler Warren. Mike, what do you make of him? Just outside our top 12 tight ends right now.
Yeah, this is trickier. I think that Loveland, his fellow rookie tight end in the first round, has an easier path to high volume because Warren's going to this Indianapolis Colts offense that does have Josh Downs and Michael Pittman, and we'll see what A.D. Mitchell does in year 2, and they want to run the ball with Jonathan Taylor. But the biggest concern is, of course, the quarterbacks. If it is Anthony Richardson, is there enough pass volume here for these guys? He threw fewer, and Richardson, when he played last year, had fewer passing touchdowns than he had games played. I know that they're going to get creative here and try to get the football in his hand as a ball carrier, which they did at Penn State as well. So that may help him a little bit, but I think I'll feel better if Daniel Jones is in there, which is an odd thing to say. I understand, but that would make me feel a little better for him and Michael Pittman and guys like that. But I have a little more pause with him than I do Loveland.
Give me some grace for a moment here. I understand we're talking about fantasy football. Both of these guys, Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren, are awesome prospects.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait to
Great
see them
futures
on the field, independent of how this season may or may not shake out. Great stuff from these two on tight ends. For more talk on tight ends,
Laporta had 120 targets his rookie season. That dropped to just 80 in his sophomore season, and he still had more than 700 receiving yards. Yep. So, I mean, I really think an injury would be the only thing that keeps him under 650 and a half. As long as Jared Goff is still able to operate the offense he has, this feels a little bit too low. I think it should probably be about 700, 725 and a half.
I like that. Obviously, played the beginning of the season, hurt last year, and really came on towards the end of the season. I love where we're at. Another tight end, though, that we want to talk about, George Kittle. And we talk about the top two all the time. George Kittle, though, in a really great spot in this offense. Ooh. No Debo. Brandon Ayuk, not there right now. He's at 875 and a half receiving yards. Where you at on big old George?
Oh, man. I mean, I think I lean over here. That's such a big number, but this guy might be the focal point of the passing game these days. It used to be Debo Samuel, it used to be Brandon Ayuk. He was like a tertiary option, but now, due to the injuries at wide receiver, he could be the guy who leads this team in targets. And he's so good. I know he's getting older, but he's still a beast. He's still a dog. So as long as it has an 8 instead of a 9 in that market there, I would lean over. But that's a big number, man.
That's a big number. Anytime we can say tertiary option on the show, we got to make sure that we get that in as well.
It's all in the hips and the brain.
Appreciate you, baby. It's been fun.
Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams. Get ready to jump into Fan Center and take over game days. ESPN Bet, the sportsbook for sports fans. Download now.
Daniel and Tyler, that was great stuff, I think. But we've got our guard up over here. We're talking red flags. And over here with Liz and Stefania, players that we're still willing to draft despite some of their red flags. Liz, you are first. By the way, we all had flags in hand. I am paying homage to Bill Belichick with mine in my sock. Remember that?
Yes, yours is also tiny than ours.
Oh, whoops.
That just means that Field has fewer red flags than we do.
Okay. America would strongly disagree with that.
Interesting that they paired us for the red flag segment.
Not like we have any
No
experience
comments.
with red flags. Actually, Kyler Murray's